Coming up right now in Marlborough this week, Election Day took place on Tuesday with one of the closest races in the state happening right here in Marlborough. Voter turnout turned out to be more than expected. We have a message from your city clerk. Plus, from election campaigns to a food campaign, our area scouts are doing their part to help the Marlborough Food Pantry. And later in this half hour, our youngest and scariest residents were drawn to downtown for this year's Horribles Parade. Those stories and more on this week's show. Marlborough This Week begins right now. Welcome to Marlborough This Week. I'm Kristen Doucette. Tuesday's election tops our newscast this week. Here's more on this week's top story. In a tight race that stretched late into election night, Republican Stephen Levy claimed victory over State Representative Danielle Gregoire by about 100 votes in the 4th Middlesex District. The result came down to Berlin, which counts its ballots by hand. Gregoire was leading by 76 votes earlier in the evening, according to unofficial results from Marlborough and Precinct 1 in Southborough. Levy won Berlin, according to unofficial results he received from the town, putting him out in front by 102 votes. 7,442 to Gregoire's 7,340. Levy thanks the voters for their support and Gregoire for her service. State Senator Jamie Eldridge defeated Republican George Thompson to win a second term on Tuesday. Eldridge, a Democrat, received 30,400 votes to Thompson's 20,841. The district also contains Hudson, Shirley, Ayr, Boxborough, and part of Sudbury. Eldridge won by significant margins in several communities, including Marlborough and his hometown of Acton. Thompson took his hometown of Westboro. And Democratic U.S. Representative Jim McGovern retained the 3rd Congressional District seat on Tuesday by holding off a challenge from Republican real estate attorney Marty Lamb of Holliston. McGovern first won office in 1996, edging out two-term Republican incumbent Peter Blute. In a close decision, Marlborough voters shot down a chance to adopt the Community Preservation Act on Tuesday. The ballot question failed 5,774 to 5,330, according to unofficial results from the city clerk's office. The act would have generated annual revenue through a 2% surcharge on property tax bills and brought matching funds from the state. The current state match is about 27%. CPA funding is dedicated to open space preservation, historic preservation, and affordable housing. The owner of an average Marlborough home would have paid an extra $58 per year, according to statistics provided by the Community Preservation Coalition. In one of the closest races in the state, State Representative Danielle Gregoire may now pursue a recount in her bid for a second term. We sat down with the winner of the state rep race, Republican Stephen Levy, to see how he's feeling just days after the election.
It was a very narrow margin, but enough to make us successful in the endeavor.
Republican Stephen Levy claimed victory of the 4th Middlesex House seat, but State Representative Danielle Gregoire has not conceded. Levy was on top, 7,442 votes to Gregoire's 7,340, according to unofficial results from Marlborough, Berlin, and Precinct 1 in Southborough. Gregoire states she planned to speak with a lawyer this week about a recount. Gregoire has until November 12th to decide. Levy says he's confident that he will remain the victor, but understands the possibility that Gregoire will ask for a recount. Levy took Southborough's Precinct 1, but Gregoire beat him in Marlborough, according to unofficial results. In one of the closest races in the state, the unofficial outcome came down to Berlin, which counts its ballots by hand.
After getting the numbers here in Marlborough, we went over to Berlin, down 76, and waited until 1 o'clock in the morning when they finally tallied their numbers, where we won by 178 to offset that, leaving us the margin of victory 102.
Levy plans to file legislation aimed at moving the legislature to a part-time body and wants to tackle further pension reform.
The whole reason why I chose to run was because there are some significant problems the Commonwealth is facing, and I just felt the legislature wasn't addressing them. It was business as usual, it was excessive spending well beyond our means. As a counselor, I've always tried to work with the other councilors to keep the spending in check, keep the taxes reasonable, to work for the people of the city and now of the state.
Levy states he will stay on the council and finish out the last year of his term. He does not plan to run for re-election as councilor, given that Tuesday night's results hold up.
I don't believe in holding two offices at the same time, other than fulfilling my obligation and my commitment to the people of Marlborough. plus avoiding the cost of a special election in the next year. So no, I will finish out my term and to the best of my ability, be at every meeting and continue my responsibilities here.
With the results on hold, Levy says he'll likely reach out to Gregoire and former state representative Stephen LeDuc, who previously held the 4th Middlesex seat. Levy states he also wants to meet with the 159 other representatives in the State House of Representatives
to start talking about the issues that are facing the Commonwealth and what their individual goals are and what we can agree on and what we can work on collectively to try to move the state forward.
Levy ended our conversation with a thank you for all who supported him along the way.
It's an incredible honor and really humbling that people put that trust in you and give you the opportunity to do that. So I'm very pleased and very thankful. Words are absolutely inadequate to express that appreciation.
We met with City Clerk Lisa Thomas Wednesday morning to discuss voter turnout. Thomas had anticipated 60% of Marlborough voters would come out to vote, and she was right.
Tuesday's election went very well. We have 20,285 registered voters, of which we had an approximate 61% turnout, and we had 7% of that turnout specifically for absentee ballot.
With 61% of registered voters voicing their choice, the polls were busy most of the day.
We were very, very busy. We had our peak hours, specifically early morning and late afternoon.
Thomas stated that results are technically unofficial until the process is complete.
Within the next 10 days, we're going to work on the provisional ballots as soon as we can. Obviously, we have to certify the results within 10 days.
Election season is an exciting time, especially for the city clerk's office. We spoke with Travis Mason, the senior clerk, to find out what makes it so interesting.
Senior Clerk Travis Mason works tirelessly during election season, as do all of the staff in the City Clerk's office. One thing he finds particularly rewarding is helping residents register to vote who have just become citizens.
They seem to be very proud and, more than willing to show us all the paperwork and are so excited about registering to vote that we tend to talk to them for a little while and let them know the whole process.
Mason has seen the voting process change over the years, but one of the newest changes to the process is the utilization of what is called an e-ballot.
Well, it allows folks that are not here but that are American citizens in which their last address was in Marlborough the ability to be involved even from a distance.
This procedure is for individuals who are overseas and still have a Marlborough address.
When I sent out the notice offering this new procedure, a lot of them were very excited, and the turnaround was very quick within a day or two, and the ballots were hand counted and a lot easier than sending out in the mail and taking a lot longer to return.
The last day and time to apply for an absentee ballot always proves to be an interesting time, and this year proved no different. Mason did admit that it's best to apply for an absentee ballot early to avoid the rush on November 1st.
And we have a nice date and time clock that we use, and at 12 o'clock that was it. So we did have a couple people that came in after, and we had to let them know that noon was the deadline. But it gets pretty busy, and everybody's trying to get in their votes at the last possible minute.
As a registered voter, you show up at your polling location and you vote on election day. Seems simple, but what you don't realize is that far before the polls open, there's lots to do. Before last year's municipal election, we tagged along with City Clerk Lisa Thomas to see what actually happens before the polls open on election day.
City Clerk's office and DPW employees are responsible for the safe delivery of the voting machines and materials to each of the specified polling sites. Many people don't realize how much work goes into preparing for each primary and general election.
We made the delivery of all the cases, the voting machines, and at the polls, very early this morning, they were already setting up the automark machines as well as the booths themselves. They're portable booths. Sometimes they can be very difficult to set up, but we were able to make sure everything was set up properly.
Claire Lucier covered the east side of the city while Thomas covered the west side. Our cameras follow Thomas. First stop, Senior Center.
We went in there and we made sure that everything was set up appropriately. What we did is reiterate to all the constables in both east and west locations the importance of making sure that the machines are put back in the bag properly so that they're not accidentally shut off.
So far, so good. No problems at the first polling site. Second stop, the Boys and Girls Club.
Joe Duca, our head constable, and I, we went inside. Everybody was already there. Automark machines were set up with their individual privacy shields. We made sure that the AccuVote machines were set up properly, and at all the polling locations, obviously all the wardens did their zero report, which is mandatory prior to any ballots being fed in any of the AccuVote machines.
It was then on to the next polling location, the Richer School.
This time, the polling location was actually in the cafeteria, as there was no school for the students, so it made it much easier to accommodate as many folks as possible. And when we went in there, we saw that the black boxes were already in place. The black boxes are where the AccuVote machines actually sit on top of, and when the ballots are cast through the AccuVote machines, they're placed in the box, they automatically go inside the box, and that's when the tallying takes place via the AccuVote machine.
Fourth and final stop, Masonic Hall.
And upon entering, they had already set up one of the portable sets of voting booths. However, the other one was a little bit more difficult. They are getting old and they're getting tattered, so we made sure through the help of both the constables as well as the wardens, the voting booths were set up properly. We always want to make sure that before we leave there are no questions or concerns at any of the polling locations, so that when the first group of folks come in to vote, everything is in place.
Polls officially opened at 7 a.m. and remained open until 8 p.m. As we left Masonic Hall's polling location, we noticed markings on the ground. Thomas explained what those indicate.
Outside of each polling location, one of the engineers from the DPW department marks the 150-foot. So we know that when we have candidates or other people campaigning outside, they must stand outside the 150-foot marking.
Thomas did revisit all of the polling locations once deliveries were made to ensure that no candidate or campaigning crew was violating such rules.
The constables are all cognizant of the 150-foot rule. Our head constable consistently throughout the day will check to make sure that there are no infractions.
The day doesn't end there for the clerk and her crew. Thomas is on standby in case problems should arise. One other duty that Thomas and her crew endure on Election Day is delivering the absentee ballots to their specified locations. Thomas and her crew try very hard to ensure a smooth process throughout Election Day, but problems do occur. Numerous changes have been made since her first election just 2 years ago.
The changes that we've implemented, although simple, have made a big difference. One of the big changes is we now have signs at all the polling locations so that folks know where to park, they know what entrance to go into. That makes it so much easier. Wardens and clerks, when they come into my office at the end of the evening with their reconciled numbers, I have a spreadsheet with the formulas already in place. All we have to do is plug in the numbers. It's nearly instantaneous.
In addition, to ensure that all poll workers have a good understanding of what is expected of them, Thomas provides them with all the necessary materials in order to do just that.
Another improvement that we made is prior to each and every election, we train the poll workers. We have specific books for them that include everything from opening and closing instruction, provisional ballot process, challenging a voter process, so they have all the tools that they need to make sure that their election at their polling location runs smoothly. And of course, we're always just a phone call away.
The Marlborough Economic Development Corporation has hired George Chacon as its new full-time executive director. Chacon comes to the MEDC with more than 30 years of economic development experience.
The Marlborough Economic Development Corporation, formerly Marlborough 2010, is the state-chartered economic development corporation for the city of Marlborough. The public-private partnership for planning works with the municipal and private investors to foster economic development, job growth, and community revitalization and development in the city. Ciccone has more than 30 years of economic development experience, having held the post of Economic Development Director in North Adams, Somerville, Chelsea, Adelaide, Attleboro, and Worcester. Ciccone replaces Marilyn Wally, the economic development consultant who worked with the MEDC Board of Directors as its part-time executive director for the past year. Wally, Raynham's town planner, is credited with initiating a strong marketing and outreach program, developing a comprehensive database on large and high-tech businesses in Marlborough, and assisting businesses in finding expansion locations.
Still to come as we continue with Marlborough This Week, flu clinic information. But first, a memorial service at Marlborough Hospital. We're back with that story after this short break. Please stay with us.
80% of U.S. fire deaths occur in the home. Hi, I'm firefighter Mark Asenko, here with some fire safety tips for you. Stay in the kitchen when you are frying, grilling, or broiling food. Talking on the phone, watching TV, using the computer are all distractions that can lead to home fires. Avoid wearing loose-fitting clothing when you are cooking. Pay attention when using the microwave. The simplest things such as cooking popcorn could cause a fire. Keep kids and pets away from the stove while you are cooking. Some of these tips may seem obvious, but they do save lives. So remember, be smart, be aware, be fire safe.
Welcome back to Marlborough This Week. Marlborough Hospital will hold a memorial service for Dr. Howard D. Kirschenbaum this Sunday, November 7th at 4 p.m. in the hospital's Union Street Cafe. Dr. Kirschenbaum, a cardiologist and respected member of the medical staff, passed away on May 26, 2010 from cancer. The service will honor Dr. Kirschenbaum for the dedicated service and care he provided to patients during the 27 years he served the Marlborough Hospital community. The City of Marlborough will be offering a seasonal flu clinic this Saturday. We spoke with a representative from the Medical Reserve Corps to learn more.
On Saturday, November 6th, the Marlborough Board of Health, in conjunction with the Marlborough Medical Reserve Corps, will be conducting the city's annual seasonal flu clinic from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Jarwick Elementary School, located at 444 Hosmer Street. The clinic is free of charge. Getting a flu shot is the best way to prevent the flu or minimize the effects of the flu if you happen to get it. Influenza sickens many people worldwide, and the very young and the very old are the most at risk. Getting the flu shot not only protects you, but it also protects those around you by minimizing the spread of influenza. Having the flu shot is a great way to maximize wellness and prevent illness. This year, all individuals ages 6 months and older are encouraged to receive the flu vaccine. The seasonal flu shot will be made available on a first-come, first-served basis to any City of Marlborough resident age 2 and older. Nasal flu mist will also be available for eligible residents aged 2 to 49.
The flu mist is just a second option for people who are eligible to receive the flu vaccine. It's just a second way to provide the vaccine to people.
Residents are instructed to bring their insurance cards, and seniors should bring their Medicare B cards. Additional information is posted on the Marlborough's city website at marlborough-ma.gov.
So this year, the flu vaccine has an added advantage in that it's a combination of the seasonal flu and the H1N1 vaccine. If you remember last year, both of those were offered separately, so you needed 2 shots. This year it's just 1 shot to cover you for the flu season.
Shuttle transportation for seniors will be provided from the following 4 senior housing locations: 240 Main Street, Academy Knoll, 29 Pleasant Street, and 397 Bolton Street. Shuttle bus service will be making stops beginning at 9 a.m. The buses will arrive and depart approximately every hour. For questions regarding the flu clinic, please call the Marlborough Board of Health at 508-460-3751.
It's very easy to come in and use the flu clinic. There's no pre-registration required. You just come down to the flu clinic on Saturday, you'll go through the line, and you'll receive your shot, and you'll be all set.
This Saturday, our area Boy and Girl Scout troops will be dropping off donation bags for their annual Scouting for Food campaign to benefit the Marlborough Food Pantry, and they need everyone's help. The Marlborough Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts would like to announce the kickoff of the annual Scouting for Food campaign in Marlborough. Scouts have been participating in the cause for over 20 years. This year on Saturday, November 6th, the Cub Scouts, Brownies, Girl Scouts, and Boy Scouts of Marlborough will fan out through the city to distribute the all-too-familiar tan plastic bags. The collection bags are again sponsored by Price Chopper Supermarkets. The Scouts will return the following Saturday on November 13th to collect all donations.
They ask that bags be out on your porch by 9 a.m. All food donations will directly benefit the Marlborough Food Pantry. Suggested items needed are canned vegetables, dry goods, canned sauces, juice, coffee, tea, cocoa, infant items, and toiletries. The goal of the Scouts is to collect 8 tons of food. They ask everyone to please assist our local Scouts in achieving this very worthy goal. If you don't get a donation bag, please feel free to use any type of bag you have, or you can call Unit Commissioner Jim Watson at 508-662-1617.
We just ask that in the future, and even now, if you have items to donate, please bring them down to the food pantry and do your part to help other people in your city.
Our cameras were busy last weekend as we caught the annual Horribles Parade in action. Every year, our city's youngest and scariest take over Main Street to trick-or-treat with our city's downtown businesses.
Every year, the Friday before Halloween, downtown Main Street becomes a spooky venue for all of our city residents to safely trick-or-treat. Local businesses open their doors for 1 hour to give out candy and treats to those who dress up for the occasion. From superheroes to goblins, the Trick-or-Treat and Horribles Parade draws in hundreds of families looking to celebrate Halloween early. Parents often dress up with their children. The event ends with the Horribles Parade. The mayor's office sponsors the fun. It's a fun time for all who join in.
Coming up, an art ceremony on the Assabet River Rail Trail, your pet of the week, and your weather outlook for the weekend and into next week. Don't move. We're back after this short break.
These tiny germs send 200,000 Americans to the hospital every year. Seasonal and pandemic flu spreads by touch, sneeze, and cough. So it's up to you to stop the flu. Get a flu shot. Sneeze or cough in your sleeve or a tissue.
Why, that's right.
Wash your hands with soap or sanitize. And don't bring the bug to work or school. Yes, it's up to you to stop the flu.
Welcome back to Marlborough This Week. This Saturday, November 6th at 10 a.m., there will be a ceremony held on the Assabet River Rail Trail to celebrate a newly painted tunnel. Thanks to area students, this once graffitied piece of property is now a work of art, and even if you can't make it to this weekend's ceremony, it's worth a walkthrough when you've got some time.
This 88-foot mural entitled A Community Win was designed by Hudson High School students and painted by more than 100 high school students from Hudson and Marlborough, covering both sides of the tunnel.
It was a real learning experience. It wasn't just a day out of school. We learned a real lot about art, about ourselves.
The Arts Alliance Hudson Recreation Department and Mike Correa, art coordinator for the Hudson Public Schools, have worked closely with local art teachers, students, and community members to plan, design, and implement this enormous public art project that has taken over a year to complete.
I had approached the kids about something to do with trains, and they came up with this theme with trains and football because it's the third oldest rivalry in the state, so they decided to pick this.
A Community Win is set in the 1920s and depicts both schools coming home from a winning football game.
This side here, Hudson's winning the football game against Marlborough, and the other side is the opposite. And actually, Marlborough High School kids and Hudson High School kids worked on both sides. It wasn't like a competition or anything like that.
The mural illustrates a period when trains zipped through surrounding communities. Students spend time researching the 1920s to accurately illustrate the clothing styles portrayed in the mural. Many different characters can be seen within the mural, including football players and coaches, cheerleaders, marching band members, military personnel, train conductors, and numerous spectators.
It's great how students put themselves into that time period, so a lot of the portraits are of themselves in the 1920s or 1930s.
A Community Win is part of an ongoing initiative called Hudson Pathways. Hudson Pathways is made possible by funding from the Sudbury Foundation, Avidia Bank, and individual donations. Correa admitted that while this project was being carried out, students and parents were concerned that their hard work would go to waste if this mural were to be ruined by graffiti. Correa pushed on with the project without fear and asked his students to do the same.
I had talked to everybody coming through, adults as well, that we can't live like that. It's kind of like the towers, the Twin Towers. You're not going to stop living because of terrorism. And we're not going to stop living because somebody does something to this artwork, but we do have the varnish to protect it. But if they did, we'll fix it, and it's not going to stop us from doing artwork.
The Arts Alliance, along with the Hudson Recreation Department, Historic Society, Hudson Police Department, and Hudson Public Schools, have participated in Hudson Pathways.
It's been a good experience for the kids in general, the ones that did work on it. And if they don't realize it now, they'll come back 5 years from now. This paint's great and it'll still be here. So maybe they'll look at it and reflect on it a little differently.
Today we have Maddie, and Maddie is a cute little stray that was brought to us from a shelter in Maryland. She was adopted out briefly, but returned because she was too active in the car, and her owners did a lot of traveling. Other than that, she's a great dog. She's sweet, friendly, housebroken. She gets along with pretty much all other dogs, and she's a great size for traveling, I think. So if you're interested in Maddie or any of the other dogs at Buddy Dog, please feel free to call us at 978-443-6990.
Let's see what the next 5 days has in store for us. Here's a look at your 5-day forecast. Welcome back to Marlborough This Week. In preparation for Veterans Day, Marlborough's Cemetery Division will be conducting a general fall cleanup. All flowers and decorations must be removed by Monday, November 8th. Lost, missing, or damaged items are not the responsibility of the City of Marlborough's Cemetery Division or its employees. There will be a holiday craft show next Saturday, November 13th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Marlborough Senior Center located at 250 Main Street. All proceeds will support the efforts of the Friends of Marlborough Seniors. For more information, please call Judy at 508-485-0785. And before we go, we'd just like to remind all of you at home that you can now follow us on Facebook. Visit WMCT-TV.com and click our Facebook link. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Marlborough This Week. I'm Kristen Doucette. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week. Coming up right now in Marlborough this week, we have highlights from this year's Veterans Day festivities. U.S. Congressman Jim McGovern undergoes surgery this week, just days after the recent election. Plus, Jonathan Kraft, president of the New England Patriots, stopped by to give a speech to members of our local Chamber of Commerce. And later in this half hour, the Marlborough High School girls volleyball team is on a roll and will be playing in a district championship game this weekend. We'll show you how they got there coming up in sports. Those stories and more on this week's show. Marlborough This Week begins right now. Welcome to Marlborough This Week. I'm Kristen Doucette. Here's more on Thursday's Veterans Day Parade. Marlborough paid tribute to local veterans past and present on Thursday morning during the annual Veterans Day Parade. Veterans marched through downtown, laying wreaths at the various monuments along the way. Marching alongside the vets were state and local representatives, as well as some of Marlborough's scouting organizations. The Marlborough High School Band put the crowd in a patriotic mood, and a new addition to the parade this year was the newly formed Marlborough Fire Department Color Guard that will hopefully become a mainstay in the city. When the procession ended, a ceremony was held in front of the Doughboy Monument, where this year's featured speaker, Kevin Lambert, who served in Iraq, spoke about how the older generation of veterans are an inspiration to the new generation vets.
I feel that if it wasn't for the World War II veterans after we were attacked standing in line for hours and hours waiting to go join and fight and defend their country, that we as the younger generation Iraq War, Afghanistan War veterans would not have signed up after we were attacked on 9/11. If it wasn't from the lessons we learned from the Vietnam era veterans coming home, we would never have the services and benefits we have in place today.
If you missed any of the parade, you can watch it in its entirety right here on WMCT-TV. Check out the website for playtimes. In another showing of thanks, Randy Scott, owner of the Main Street Cafe, offered a free breakfast to any veteran who stopped in Thursday morning.
This is something we started last year. We have a nephew that's been in Iraq. He's been deployed over there a couple of times, and he's been out here for Memorial Day, and this year he was out for Veterans Day. And it kind of brought home, the fact that, there's a lot of people out there that have just made some sacrifices, and we've all been able to benefit from those sacrifices, and this is a small thing for us to do. Doesn't sting too much, and I think most of these guys really appreciate it.
In honor of our veterans, a local initiative is happening next week. Here are the details.
The Massachusetts Bar Association is now offering a toll-free number as part of its Dial a Lawyer event for veterans, a biannual program that will be held next Wednesday, November 17th from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. The new toll-free number is 1-877-686-0711. If callers get a busy signal, they are asked to hang up and try again, or please call the local number 617-338-0610. The Veterans Dial a Lawyer is provided at no charge as a public service of the MBA with the financial support of the Massachusetts Bar Foundation. During the 2-hour event, volunteer MBA attorneys man the phone lines and answer veterans' questions regarding benefits, divorce, child support, employment, and landlord-tenant issues. The MBA also offers a weekly call-in service for veterans struggling with state and federal benefit appeals. Qualified veterans will be matched with attorneys who offer to represent their cases free of charge. Again, the new toll-free number for next Wednesday's event is 1-877-686-0711.
Shortly after the Veterans Parade ended on Thursday, a quick response from the Marlborough Fire Department prevented a fire from spreading on Broad Street.
A call to the fire department Thursday morning from town cleaners on Broad Street prompted a full response from the department. The fire, which was electrical in nature, was quickly extinguished, preventing it from spreading to the other stores in the plaza. There were no injuries, but the laundromat remained closed until all the smoke was removed.
As election news wraps up, so does the recount in question regarding the state representative race for the 4th Middlesex District between State Representative Gregoire and Republican Stephen Levy.
State Representative Danielle Gregoire has conceded to Republican Stephen Levy in the race for the 4th Middlesex House seat. Gregoire came up about 100 votes short in her attempt at a second term and has decided not to pursue a recount. Gregoire has thanked her supporters for their help in the last few weeks. Levy, a Marlborough City Councilor, won 7,442 votes to Gregoire's 7,340, according to the unofficial results from Marlborough, Berlin, and Precinct 1 in Southborough.
It's an incredible honor and really humbling that people put that trust in you and give you the opportunity to do that. So I'm very pleased and very thankful. Words are absolutely inadequate to express that appreciation.
Shortly after winning in last week's election, U.S. Representative Jim McGovern underwent successful surgery on Monday to remove his thyroid gland after a biopsy found cancer. The biopsy was conducted after a routine examination.
While U.S. Representative James McGovern traveled across the 3rd Congressional District during the past couple of months, he was battling more than just an aggressive Republican opponent. McGovern's office announced on Monday that the veteran congressman underwent successful surgery in Washington, D.C. that morning to remove his thyroid gland. The surgery was due to the recent discovery of a small nodule on the gland that appeared during a recent routine examination. A biopsy of this nodule showed papillary cancer of the the thyroid gland. The surgery was performed at Washington Hospital Center. About 37,000 people in the United States are diagnosed with thyroid cancer, and more than 75% are of the papillary type. Most patients are cured with surgery and do not experience any further issues with the disease, though further tests and therapies in McGovern's case will be determined after studying the thyroid gland after its removal. With a victory in hand, McGovern should be back on Capitol Hill soon.
Voting results have become official as of Friday, and as the city clerk's office wraps up loose ends from this year's election, our city clerk Lisa Thomas spoke about a mishap that took place prior to the election.
The city clerk's office in Taunton thought it had a state ballot snafu completely under control, but a handful of ballots from Marlborough ended up being cast in Taunton on Election Day. The ballots, which didn't list Taunton's candidates for state representative, state senate, and some other offices, were run through an AccuVote machine. The city clerk says she is certain that only 4 Marlborough ballots were cast in Taunton. Brian McNiff, a spokesman for the Secretary of State's office, says that a parcel of 650 of Taunton's ballots had accidentally been sent to Marlborough, while some Marlborough ballots were inadvertently delivered to Taunton. The city clerks in each municipality were notified of the error on October 22nd. City Clerk Lisa Thomas says she and her staff discovered a problem here in Marlborough, and as a courtesy, her office mailed the misplaced ballots to Taunton.
It's my understanding that it's happened here in the past. I've not encountered it since coming on board approximately 3 years ago. However, that's the very first thing we do. Mistakes can be made, and of course the vendor is preparing ballots statewide. So we certainly can understand, but it is incumbent upon the city or town clerk to make sure that he or she goes through all the piles so they can discover, not too late, that they have other ballots.
Thomas insisted that none of the ballots her office sent to Taunton belonged to Marlborough, and no Taunton ballots ended up being cast in Marlborough.
Before approving more funding for the Human Services Department, the City Council has requested more information from the Mayor about a proposed reorganization plan for social services. The Human Services Task Force, convened by Mayor Nancy Stevens, found that the city should consolidate social services but still needs a Human Services Director. The City Council voted 6-5 in May to cut all funding from the Human Services Department in fiscal 2011, which began July 1st. The task force suggested reorganizing and consolidating the city's Human Services, Council on Aging, and Veterans Affairs into one Health and Human Services Department. In a close vote Monday, the council sent the funding request back to the mayor and asked for more information on potential salaries, funding requirements, the proposed department structure, and job descriptions. Councilors said they are generally pleased with the task force's work. The proposed consolidation will provide streamlining of services, better staff support, and improved employee collaboration. Stevens said she would like to have the reorganization in place by July 1st, 2011, which is the beginning of fiscal 2012. In other business, the City Council supported a trial period for the Four Kicks sports facility to serve alcohol. Four Kicks can apply for a liquor license that it can use for 25 days through August 31st, 2011. The facility still needs to get the license for beer and wine from the city's licensing board with approval from the state. Four Kicks, located at 219 Forest Street, can only serve alcohol upstairs in the Kickback Club, which is also the only place that patrons can drink. The facility plans to serve alcohol for designated special events and adult leagues. It is eyeing early 2011 to begin serving alcohol. In other business, the State Department of Revenue has certified $3.8 million in free cash for the city. Including the stabilization fund, the city has more than $11 million in cash reserves. Students and parents crammed into the District Education Center Tuesday night as the school committee honored the many recipients of a state scholarship. 71 students from Marlborough High School's class of 2011 received the John and Abigail Adams Scholarship, which rewards strong performance on the Massachusetts Comprehensive Assessment System, more commonly known as the MCAS tests. The scholarship provides a tuition waiver for 8 semesters of undergraduate education at a state college or university. High school principal Deborah Roy read all the names. A dozen students, joined by relatives, attended the meeting. In other business, the school committee unanimously approved a contractual agreement with the Custodians Union. The contract covers July 1st, 2009 through July 30th, 2010. The custodian's representative signed the memorandum of agreement on October 26th. And lastly, as the school committee tackles the problem of bullying in the schools, the Marlborough Public School District is holding a forum for parents to comment on the proposed Marlborough Public Schools District Bullying Prevention and Intervention Plan. The forum will be held this coming Tuesday, November 16th, at the District Education Center from 6:30 to 8:30. The format of the evening will include a short PowerPoint on the new anti-bullying law, as well as time for public comments and questions. For this week's Committee Corner, I'm Dan Ginden.
Proponents of a plan to develop the Walker Estate at 93 Framingham Road asked the City Council this week to sell them a half-acre size sewer easement so they could present a new open space development. The estate, including more than 5 acres of land surrounding a mansion built in 1895, was the home of the late Mayor Frank D. Walker and his family. The new plan for the Walker Estate proposes 14 homes on 8 buildable lots. 7 units would be standard subdivision homes, and with a special permit, conversion of the 7,300 square foot Walker home would create 7 condominiums. The easement needed as a prerequisite for the plan to move forward appears to be a 30-foot wide strip of land about the length of a couple of football fields at the front of the property. Attorney Arthur Bergeron says the developers now want to build under the provisions of the city's open space zoning laws. The site, zoned residential, would normally require 18,000 square foot lots with 120 feet of frontage. Under the open space rules, a developer with a special permit can build 12,000 square foot lots with 50 feet of frontage in exchange for preserving a certain amount of the land as dedicated open space. Attorney Bergeron says he has discussed this proposal with Ronald Lafreniere, Public Works Commissioner, and Priscilla Ryder, Conservation Officer. Ward 2 City Councilor Paul Farrow has also agreed to schedule a neighborhood meeting to discuss this proposal. Still to come as we continue with Marlborough this week, a wax museum comes alive at the Whitcomb Elementary School. But first, Jonathan Kraft speaks at a local luncheon this week. We're back with that story after this short break. Please stay with us.
These tiny germs send 200,000 Americans to the hospital every year. Seasonal and pandemic flu spreads by touch, sneeze, and cough. So it's up to you to stop the flu. Get a flu shot. Sneeze or cough in your sleeve or a tissue.
Why, that's right.
Wash your hands with soap or sanitize. And don't bring the bug to work or school. Yes, it's up to you to stop the flu.
Welcome back to Marlborough this week. The Chamber of Commerce held their annual luncheon on Wednesday afternoon. The gathering draws in hundreds of chamber members while attracting interesting guest speakers. Here's Paula Pimentel with more.
This past Wednesday, the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce hosted their annual meeting at the Best Western Royal Plaza Hotel. The meeting included the election of the directors of the board, an update from their chairman, Jack Catone, and a presentation by the president and chief operating officer of the Kraft Group, Jonathan Kraft. Mayor Nancy Stevens was also present at this year's meeting. According to Suzanne Morreale-Lieber, this luncheon was organized to elect the new directors of the board, but also to celebrate the accomplishments of this year and to prepare for next year.
The reason why we do this, it's written into our bylaws that it takes place in November. We elect the new directors to our board of directors. The chairman of the board gets an opportunity to go over some of the accomplishments that we made during the year. And with our new directors coming on board, the general membership gets to meet them, gets to see them, and it's more processed.
The chairman of the Chamber of Commerce, Jack Catone, discussed some of the things that took place this past year. He mentioned the 2 objectives that the Chamber agreed to attain during a meeting last year. One of those objectives was to bring a college to Marlborough, and the second one to expand the mayor's term to 4 years.
I'm delighted to tell you, about 2 weeks ago, we had the launch for the partnership between Quinsigamond Community College and Assabet Valley, and it went extremely well. We're looking forward to a very fruitful year. We'll be having meetings and looking at how we can accelerate this. And so I'm very excited about that.
John Polanowitz, president of UMass Marlborough Hospital, was in charge of introducing the distinguished guest speaker, Jonathan Kraft. During his introduction, John Polanowitz stated that the Kraft Group and Patriot Place are the newest investors in the 495 partnership. Jonathan Kraft began his presentation with an explanation on how the National Football League tries to sustain excellence, even though they are a business with no major competition.
The National Football League is obsessed on all levels with looking at our product from every angle possible, from how it appears on television, to the competition on the field, to the safety of our players, to how people are experiencing the game in our venues, to how they're experiencing our content on non-game days, meaning the things like the NFL network and the digital distribution of content that we at each club have.
Kraft also explained how this effort improved the ratings of NFL games to a level never seen before.
We're spitting out 6 hours of original audio a day, usually well over an hour of original video a day. But it's not just on our website. Every time we post a new piece of content to the web, we tweet it out, we put it up on our Facebook wall. We're reaching people in the environments in which they're starting to lead their lives. And then as they consume the content, and if they like it, they can immediately send it to their friends, and they can comment on it. And the commenting on it for us is critical.
The Kraft Group bought the New England Patriots in 1994, and Jonathan explained the price and the reasons for why his company made this decision.
My dad would always take us once a year on a road game, and we saw the power of the National Football League. And we knew that New England was a great sports market. And we knew that there was a fan base there that just was ready to embrace professional football, wanted to embrace it if they knew there was some stability.
When asked about the cost of the old Foxborough Stadium versus the new Gillette Stadium, Kraft explained how the world has changed and how lucky they were to spend $325 million.
We're lucky because we built it all privately, so like all of you, when you're spending capital dollars, you're watching the budget, you're trying to put the money where it really matters and make sure you're not spending it where it doesn't. And I'm really happy with the building that we built.
This year's meeting concluded with the presentation of David Walton, owner of Patriot Ambulance, and now the 2011 chairman of the board. Walton proceeded to introduce the new members of the board of directors. For Marlborough This Week, I'm Paula Pimentel.
It may be the final stop for New England holiday tradition this year if a buyer cannot be found for Edaville Railroad. The park hosts several events throughout the year, but it's probably best known for its annual Holiday Festival of Lights celebration.
Edaville, USA opened in April of 1947 and is thought to be one of the world's first tourist railroads. The current owner, John Deli Perscoli of Marlborough, says he made the decision to sell after the park's current operators decided not to renew their lease. The asking price for the park has been set at $10 million. In addition to the 20-minute rail ride around the park, the facility has amusement rides, including a vintage carousel and Ferris wheel. The area also includes a barbecue hut, a food service building, a gift shop, a candy shop, and a full equipment repair and storage facility. All of the buildings are either new or recently renovated and are in excellent shape. The land is largely zoned for residential use, and part of it contains an approved 20-lot residential subdivision, but the parcels also have an entertainment district overlay that allows the park to operate. The Festival of Lights started November 12th and runs through New Year's.
This past Friday morning, the second annual Wax Museum was held at the Whitcomb School. As you may remember from last year, the event is the culminating activity of the 4th grade biography book report. We were there to catch the museum in action.
Our students were given their first book project of the year. They had to read a biography book of their choice, and they had to become the character that they read about. And we chose to display that as a wax museum.
Students at the Whitcomb Elementary School brought a wax museum to life with individuals they researched since September.
There were not many restrictions on the person that they could choose, as long as they could find a book about the person. For some students that was a little bit more of a struggle, especially if they were looking for a person who was a little bit more current. And they also had to research online. They had to find 2 websites to find information about the life of the person they were reading about.
This Wax Museum project was aimed at getting the students using the internet in a safe way, having them learn about individuals from the past and present, and to learn about what the difference is between fiction and nonfiction. On Friday morning, parents and students got the chance to walk through the museum to enjoy all of the hard work the students have done.
The parents did the first run-through of the Wax Museum today, which was very successful. The students did an excellent job taking on the character, pretending to be a statue and staying very silent and still, which was really exciting for them. The parents enjoyed seeing their children's work as well as walking around and seeing the work of their classmates.
Not only did these students research, read, and write, on the day of the Wax Museum, they had to stay completely still and portray the essence of their individuals.
As the Wax Museum got closer and they saw the other students' posters in our classroom, they got even more excited. We started working on props and costumes and collecting stuff from home. And I heard a lot of parents say that their child was up bright and early this morning, ready to come to school and prepare for the Wax Museum.
The Wax Museum was open for 2 30-minute sessions, and sometimes it was hard to stay still and straight-faced for the whole time, but all in all, the students did a great job.
We've had some events here at the Whitcomb School already, but this is the first time that children have displayed their work for their parents and for their classmates.
After months of planning, designing, and collaborating, the MPS Early Childhood Center is set to launch a multi-year effort aimed at encouraging families to read at least 1,000 books to their preschoolers before they enter kindergarten. We met with 4 Girl Scouts Wednesday night who were vital to the launch of this program.
The Girl Scouts in the Northborough Troop 481 wanted to do their Silver Award project, which is the 2nd highest Girl Scouting award, and it's a huge project. Each girl has to have 40 hours worth of work, and our girls put in a lot more than that while compiling these books. The girls work together to gather over 2,000 books, and they're going to tell you a little bit about their process.
The first step, obviously, is to collect the books. And we set up multiple book drives throughout the Marlborough and Northborough schools and the fields. And thanks to Northborough and Marlborough community, we actually got over 2,000 books.
The next step was to sort the books, determine which books were appropriate for the kids to read and which ones were not so great. And we went through all the books, we sorted them into genres, and we put them into the bags.
All right, once we had sorted all of the books and decided which ones would be best and that we were definitely going with, the next step was to put them into a big database of all the titles and the authors and the genres of each of the different books. And so that was to just keep track of, which ones we had and make sure there weren't any duplicates. Lastly, we took all the 100 books and put them in 100 bags in groups of 10. We chose a variety of the books and, yeah.
As you look around the room, you can see all the hard work that the girls have put in. They spent many hours at the Whitcomb School well into the night, and Beck and I are extremely proud of their hard work and their leadership and their initiative, and we are just so proud that they've put together a project that'll have a lasting effect on the Marlborough community.
We're going to be taking registrations for families that are interested in signing book bags out, and we're really hoping that this can continue to grow.
Coming up, an annual calendar sale, your pet of the week, and your weather outlook for the weekend and into next week. Don't move. We're back after this short break.
80% of U.S. fire deaths occur in the home. Hi, I'm firefighter Mark Asenko, here with some fire safety tips for you. Stay in the kitchen when you are frying, grilling, or broiling food. Talking on the phone, watching TV, using the computer are all distractions that can lead to home fires. Avoid wearing loose-fitting clothing when you are cooking. Pay attention when using the microwave. The simplest things such as cooking popcorn could cause a fire. Keep kids and pets away from the stove while you are cooking. Some of these tips may seem obvious, but they do save lives. So remember, be smart, be aware, be fire safe.
Welcome back to Marlborough This Week. The Marlborough Historical Society launched their annual calendar sale this month and will continue through the winter. This year's calendars have a new theme and are in celebration of the city's 350th birthday.
The Marlborough Historical Society's annual calendar is now available. The 2011 calendar highlights some of Marlborough's lost landmarks.
And every month has a different lost landmark that we've lost over time. It goes back to way back even, some weird ones that you might not even know about. For instance, the wigwam tree that I didn't even know about until maybe about a year ago. But down around Lake Williams was this huge, huge tree that was hollow inside, and you could fit 19 people inside the thing. And it was, the Indians used it as a wigwam back in the 1600s, 1700s. Unfortunately, it got a disease and they had to cut it down in the early 1900s.
The calendar is more than just pictures. Each month features stories and interesting facts about the different landmarks.
We have them distributed out at different places like Marlborough Savings Bank, the Chamber of Commerce, Bouvier Pharmacy, just to name a few, the Vin Bin, Wayside Country Store, Wayside Inn. They're all around. We have them at different places. Or they can buy them from us, and they're very economical. They're $10, and all the proceeds go to us, to the Marlborough Historic Society, to further what we're trying to do, you know, which is to preserve Marlborough's history and also to showcase it and let people see it. It's what we have here at the homestead belongs to the citizens of Marlborough.
Today we have Reggie, and Reggie is a great dog. He's a 4-year-old coon mix. He is wonderful with other dogs. He walks well on a leash. He's housebroken, and he's really a pretty mellow guy. He's going to make a great family pet. If you're interested, please call us at Buddy Dog. The number is 978-443-6990.
A couple of weeks ago, we got you acquainted with the undefeated Marlborough girls volleyball team, and now let's catch up with them as they look to stay undefeated in the playoffs. Monday, they took on Milford in a quarterfinal matchup. In Game 1, the Panthers showed off their power early as Laura Silverman blasts through the block for a kill. Then it's Taylor Fearing setting it up nicely again for her sister Alexa to put one away. Panthers take Game 1 25-14. Game 2, Kelly Albrecht with a great dig, followed by a heads-up running set by Vanessa Pascal, allowing Alexa Fearing to put one softly down the line for the point. Panthers win Game 2, 25-23. Marlborough would lose Game 3, and in Game 4, both teams went back and forth until a long volley ended with a Milford kill, forcing a deciding 5th game to 15 points. Panthers would come out strong with Fearing to Fearing for the kill, and later on it was Angela Scott to Alexa Fearing, as Marlborough would go on to win the final game 15-8, setting up a Wednesday night semifinal versus Hopkinton. After winning Game 1, Marlborough found themselves down 16-18, looking to regain the lead as Melissa Scott dives for a dig, and then the sisters Fearing take care of the rest. Panthers find a way back in it, and Melissa Scott puts away Game 2 with a nice serve. Marlborough would drop Game 3 22-25, but would put their collective foot on the gas pedal for Game 4, as senior captain Angela Scott served for 12 straight points to mark a 21-6 lead, and with a 24-8 lead, Taylor Fearing would leave it for Silverman, who would decisively end the match on a huge kill down the middle. The 20-0 Panthers will now take on a 22-0 Medfield squad Saturday at 3 p.m. at Hudson High. We spoke with some of the Panthers to find out what their strategy was for Hopkinton and what their winning secret is.
We saw them about 2 games in the Milford tournament that we went to earlier this season. We knew they had 3 hitters up front. They were working with 1 setter, so we just had to step up our blocking, make sure our back row was covering everything, and I think we did a good job at that.
A lot of us play club outside of the season, so that really improves our game, and I don't know, we just really focus in practice and everything.
I credit the whole team, we can't just say it's any one position. It's defense, it's hitting, it's setting. It's really every place.
So to Hudson High we go, a packed house on Saturday afternoon to see 2 undefeated Titans fight it out for the Division II Central Mass title. Medfield is no stranger to big games, as they have won the title a few times in recent years. The Panthers dug themselves a hole early in Game 1, partly due to the play of 6'3" Natalie Dickinson, who kills one for a point here. Medfield looking like a well-oiled machine, as not even a great set and spike from the Fearing sisters could get through their front line. Panthers down 6-2, and later with the score 13-6, the captain Angela Scott started to serve up a comeback. 4 service points later, the rally was halted by another big kill from Dickinson. Later, Melissa Scott can't handle a funky serve, making the score 17-11 and forcing Coach Lepre to take time out to get his girls back in the game. Right after that, the Panthers decided to show Medfield what got them this far. From Scott to Fearing, setting it for a big Silverman slam. The Panthers then stayed with Medfield, and late in the game, Melissa Scott would find an empty corner, making the score 23-21. Then, facing a game point, 24-22, Alexa Fearing puts the Panthers within 1, but a big kill by Captain Kathleen Craw gives the Warriors Game 1. Game 2 started out much better for the Black and Orange. Tied up at 3, Melissa Scott makes a big block. Then Silverman gets a piece of another hard shot, which leads to Fearing burying one for the lead. The first half of Game 2 found the two teams trading points. Knotted at 5, an unbelievable sprawling save by Hannah Donnelly leads to a heads-up point for MHS as Vanessa Pascal finds some empty court. Tied at 10, a diving effort from Melissa Scott would give the Panthers the lead. And still leading at 15-13, Scott would make 2 more great plays. But Craw's kill down the line ended the volley, and after that, the Panthers just couldn't find a rhythm, and Medfield takes Game 2, 25-16. The Panther faithful would try to rally the troops for Game 3, and trailing 8-7, Melissa Scott hits the floor yet again, and that helps them tie it up as the Medfield spike goes wide. The Panthers would stay close, fighting for every point, but in the end, there would be no rally, and Medfield takes Game 3, 25-20, and hands the Panthers their only loss of the season. Medfield wins the Division II Central Mass title. Congrats on a great season, Panthers.
Let's see what the next 5 days has in store for us. Here's a look at your 5-day forecast. We'd like to remind you that there will be a holiday craft show this Saturday, November 13th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Marlborough Senior Center located at 250 Main Street. All proceeds will support the efforts of the Friends of Marlborough Seniors. For more information, please call Judy at 508-485-0785. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Marlborough This Week. I'm Kristen Doucette. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week. Coming up right now in Marlborough this week, as the colder months approach us, an initiative to help others furnish their homes needs your help. Bullying and our schools, what administrators are planning to do about it. And later in this half hour, longtime hockey and lacrosse coach John Butler announces that this season will be his last. We'll have more details coming up in sports. Those stories and more on this week's show. Marlborough This Week begins right now. Furnishing Options, a program of Marlborough's based employment options, is in desperate need of furniture and other household items. And with the holiday season just around the corner, it's even more important now that the organization receives donations. Welcome to Marlborough This Week. I'm Kristen Doucette. Here's more in this week's top story.
Furnishing Options, a program of Marlborough-based employment options, is in desperate need of donations of furniture and other household items. Furnishing Options assists low-income residents of the greater Marlborough area to furnish their homes with donated items.
It makes perfect sense that we would support a program like Furnishing Options to help people deal with poverty issues.
Furnishing Options is approaching its one-year anniversary thanks to the generous help of this community. During these tough economic times facing both the country and the Metro West region, the services that Furnishing Options provides are more important than ever.
There are so many amazing people that are just wonderful people that just maybe 6 months ago had a great job, responsible job, a high-paying job, and now they're really in need. It's a tough time for many families.
Furnishing Options' mission is to provide a variety of household items to individuals in need, low-income families, or individuals recovering from mental illness or other disabilities.
We want to make sure that we're distributing goods to low-income customers, but we don't want to perform the verifications. So we ask for referrals from trusted members of the community, human services agencies, faith-based organizations. We've had high school guidance counselors refer us.
Donations accepted may include sofas, tables, chairs, kitchen items such as pots and pans, and other items such as lamps and rugs. Anything that can make a house into a home for people that may be struggling will help. Furnishing Options only accepts goods that are clean and in fine working condition. Furnishing Options respectfully only accepts household goods from single-family dwellings and cannot accept donations of goods from multifamily residences. After careful consideration and strong guidance and advice from local health professionals, the organization has concluded that for the health and safety of the recipients of furniture and the very strong likelihood of the spread of certain types of insects and pests, more prominent in multifamily dwellings, they cannot accept items from these types of buildings. The organization cannot accept mattresses or sleep sofas for health reasons. Furnishing Options helps complete the dignity and respect that their parent organization Employment Options already provides people in need.
Basically, our clientele goes from strictly homelessness into an apartment, and they come here thinking it's just from furniture, but they walk out of here with a home.
By providing these items and other support, individuals and their families can live a more fulfilling life and be known as a productive member of their community. The organization additionally offers a training site for youth and adults with disabilities to develop leadership and employment skills, including customer service, retail, merchandising, and inventory control.
I'm a member of Employment Options, and Diane asked me if I would like to volunteer my time, and I came in and I just really enjoyed what things that she had to say about the program, and I've been here ever since.
People looking to donate, volunteer, or refer someone in need can contact the organization at 774-348-4922. The organization is also looking for volunteers who can help transport items to the Furnishing Options location and help spread the word about the need for donations. Many of the Furnishing Options recipients turn around and begin to volunteer their time due to how grateful they are for the help they have received.
It gives me a sense of accomplishment. It allows me to go back to home and go to sleep at peace, knowing that the day is over. I did my job for the day. It was a good deed. I don't need to expect, and I don't expect nothing in return. I don't expect the person to say thank you. I mean, this is all the people involved, and just a simple tool trying to make connections.
With 1 year to go until Election Day, a Marlborough man's campaign for mayor is officially underway. 42-year-old Jim Mosso says he's starting early to introduce himself to voters. The first-time candidate plans to embark on a listening tour that will likely last a couple of months. And in the meantime, Mosso is attending city council meetings, doing research on city business, and touching base with department heads. Mosso trains Capuchin monkeys to help the disabled.
Clear Wireless is closer to setting up a 4G network on Onamog Street after councilors recently supported the company's plans. The company, an affiliate of Sprint, received a positive recommendation on its special permit application by the City Council's Wireless Communications Committee on October 26th. Clear Wireless plans to install antennas on the water tank at 115 Onamog Street. Company representatives state there's a significant coverage gap in that area. The company would pay rent to the city. The full City Council is expected to review the special permit application and vote on it on November 22nd. Clear Wireless had previously appeared before the city, but ended up withdrawing its plans because of lease issues. The City Council has approved a rule that will require all city vehicles to carry the city seal and some form of identifying number on the back. Most government plates in Massachusetts, no matter what agency, are blue with white letters. Councilors state the city seal and a specific number painted on the back will be sufficient to distinguish city vehicles from others.
School officials told parents at a forum Tuesday night that a new state law that requires schools to investigate every allegation of bullying will help provide more authority over the problem. The anti-bullying law became effective in May, and school departments must now file a bullying prevention and intervention plan with the state by December 31st.
The state defines bullying as repeated offenses with consequences that include causing the victim harm, placing someone in fear, or creating a hostile environment at school. Offenses include cyberbullying, which involves anything electronic, from the internet to cell phones. According to the law, all school staff must have an anti-bullying training. About 20 people attended the school department's parent forum this week. Community input will end in early December. The school committee will likely vote on the proposed plan on December 14th. The draft bullying plan is on the school department's website at mps-edu.org. To comment on the draft bullying plan, please email the People Personnel Services Director, Ned Pratt, at npratt@mps-edu.org or call him at 508-460-3541.
A road reconstruction project has been put on hold, and we have the details.
Marlborough's city engineer announced that the Highland Street reconstruction project, originally scheduled to begin this year, will be delayed until the spring of 2011. This delay is due in part to corrective work required on the street's drainage system, which was not part of the original design. For schedule updates and/or questions, residents and business owners can go to the Department of Public Works website, or please contact the department at dpw@marlborough-ma.gov.
Sticking with our streets, the city's overnight parking ban will go into effect on December 1st and will continue through March 15th.
During that period, on-street parking is prohibited from 11 p.m. until 6 a.m. every single night. Vehicles who violate the ban are subject to a $10 penalty. Additionally, vehicles that interfere with snow and ice removal operations are subject to towing and storage at the owner's expense. There are some streets, however, that are granted for an exception to the parking ban, and they are as follows: High Street, Brown Street, Brook Street, Emmett Street, and Ringgold Street. If a snow or ice storm has been predicted, when a storm is occurring, or when there are post-storm clearing operations happening, you may not park on these specified streets. For more information on the parking ban, please call the Marlborough Police Department at 508-485-1212.
Still to come as we continue with Marlborough This Week, Reality Fair 2010 presents our high school senior students with real-life challenges. But first, students from a local academy have begun practicing for their basketball season. We're back with that story after this short break. Please stay with us.
The mission of the Young Professionals Network, a program of the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce, is to network and socialize with like-minded young professionals from the Metro West and surrounding areas.
Not enough young professionals are getting out and learning the skills and making the connections that they need.
If you are looking to create long-term business relationships and you want to grow professionally, YPN is for you.
Welcome back to Marlborough This Week. Students from the Massachusetts International Academy begin their basketball practices this week. The students are originally from China and are getting ready to compete against other schools. Here's Paula Pimentel with more on this story.
This past Tuesday, students from the Massachusetts International Academy initiated their basketball practices here at the Four Kicks facility in Marlborough. The Massachusetts International Academy, located on 280 Lock Drive in Marlborough, is an ESL school that guarantees its students admission to UMass Boston after successfully completing a certain course of study. The Academy currently has a basketball team with students from different areas of China. This is the second year with their basketball team, but their first year at an intense level. Maya's basketball court is in the process of being built, but until then, they'll be here practicing.
We're building one for the meantime. Four Kicks is our new home. We're looking forward to it. This is the school. So I love what I do.
Students range from the ages of 18 to roughly 23 years old and are preparing to compete against other schools such as UMass Boston, UMass Lowell, and MIT. The opening ceremony for the Massachusetts International Academy will take place on December 2nd and will be hosted at Four Kicks with the basketball tournament.
It's December 2nd. We have some of China's top 5 elite basketball players come here. They'll be joining our Maya team and hosting a basketball tournament here at Four Kicks. As well, will be opening ceremony at our school welcoming these guys. These guys have gone through huge tournament in China to come here to America. It's actually hosted by us and China's CCTV. So it's going to be a huge event. These guys are real tall, 7-footers, could have potential to go to the NBA. So we're looking forward to hosting them and having them part of our team for December.
The ceremony will also serve as a welcome event for the students at the Academy. We will be covering the event on December 2nd, so please stay tuned. For Marlborough This Week, I'm Paula Pimentel.
The annual reality fair presented by the Rotary Club and Marlborough High School took place on Monday of this week. The fair is held for the senior class each fall to give them a taste of financial reality as they begin to prepare to leave home for the first time.
It's always such a shock when a kid goes to college or they go out for their first career job and they have their first apartment and their first roommates. Hopefully today we're taking a little bit of the shock out of going out on their own.
A joint service project of the Marlborough Rotary Club and the MHS chapter of Business Professionals of America, the Reality Fair presents a financial learning experience to students in an interactive and fun game format. The fair is held for the senior class each fall to give them a taste of financial reality as they begin their preparation for their post-high school lives.
They get to choose housing, their car, they get to buy food and clothing, and if they have any money left, they can maybe have a pet, they can get their hair done, they can get their manicure, and maybe even get a cell phone, and some of those things that are luxuries actually.
Each year, more than 30 volunteers from local businesses and organizations participate in this intensive game to teach teens the importance of budgeting a paycheck.
Financial education is key to tomorrow's success for a lot of these students. This is their first-hand experience of what goes on when they get a salary, what they should do with it, should they buy something, should they pay bills. You know, tomorrow they're going to be going to college. They need to invest today to think about tomorrow.
The fair presents the students with real business practitioners playing themselves as bankers, auto dealers, insurance agents, grocery store attendants, and more. In the future, the organizers invite those who may wish to volunteer to fill some of the counseling and paymaster roles at the fair.
Education is key. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old you are, you can always learn something. And I give a lot of props to the people that participate in something like this because they are preparing tomorrow's youth for leadership.
The club is grateful to Digital Federal Credit Union, their major sponsor for the 5th year, as they continue to support the fair in the current economy.
I think what's happened over the last couple of years has really educated them to, wow, the economy can and does affect how they live on a daily basis. So these kids are working, they're putting money away, they're not stupid. They've actually learned a very valuable lesson that I think a lot of us didn't have that opportunity when we were younger. So something like this is really eye-opening for them.
Our area Boy and Girl Scout troops got a dose of reality recently as well as they participated in their annual Scouting for Food campaign. As they collected food around the city for our local food pantry, they learned that not everyone is as fortunate as they are.
Historically, Scouting for Food is usually the single largest donation that the food pantry receives.
Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts have concluded their annual Scouting for Food drive to support the Marlborough Food Pantry.
Last counts have us at about 10,500. We might have a little bit more from there in comparison to the 8,000 pounds that we had last year.
Residents were asked to fill bags with donations of cereals, dried food, canned goods, baby items, toiletries, powdered drinks, coffee, tea, and hot chocolate.
Got about a little bit more than 1,500 bags back. We put out 11,000. That's about 8%. If all 11,000 people just put 1 or 2 cans out, that would have been absolutely phenomenal. There would be no space at the food pantry.
Food pantry directors throughout Metro West have said that they depend on the food collected each year by Scouts, parents, and leaders in this annual Scouting for Food drive.
It's heavily relied on, particularly this time of the year. It's November, we're going into the holidays, and after coming through the summer, there are usually a lot of bare shelves, and this is a really great way to get them stocked up to hopefully get them through the better part of the winter.
Coming up, a local troop fundraising drive, your pet of the week, and your weather outlook for the weekend. And into next week, don't move. We're back after this short break.
This is Ducky Duck. Ducky Duck is really no different than you and I. You see, Ducky enjoys using Marlborough's rivers, streams, lakes, and ponds for travel, leisure, and even for drinking water. But Ducky needs your help. When humans mistake stormwater drains for sewers, it causes many problems. While sewers are connected to the plumbing in our houses, stormwater catch basins are completely separate and flow directly into our public water supply. Polluted waterways can affect the quality of our drinking water, our wildlife, and the overall health of our city. So when you discard trash, fertilizers, or oils into these drains, it's bad news for Ducky and for you. Help keep our waterways clean.
Welcome back to Marlborough This Week. Waldron's Auto Body is honoring America's active duty with a troop drive this month. Here are the details.
We have been collecting goods for all the troops who are overseas, so that this way here we can let them know our appreciation for what they're doing for us.
This November, Waldron's Auto Body Car Star will honor America's active duty and military veterans with a special celebration for National Military Month. An adopted troop donation program in conjunction with the local VFW is aimed at collecting supplies for our troops. Car Star, the nation's largest family of auto body repair experts, is working with national and local military support groups at nearly 60 locations around the country to honor veterans and America's active duty.
Insurance agents that we have a great relationship with, we've notified them. They have been great to us. And again, a lot of customers who've been coming in. We've been able to get the word out through people like yourself, which we appreciate very much, the local newspapers, and some of our own contacts through email and faxes.
Customers can simply make a monetary donation or donate a needed item and have their name featured on the Return the Favor donation cards featured in the store. Suggested items to donate include instant coffee, Clorox wipes, cotton t-shirts, cotton socks, razors, foot powder, toilet paper, dental floss, underwear, lip balm, mouthwash, batteries, and more.
Envelopes, pads, pens, cards, crossword puzzles, anything to keep them busy.
All monetary donations raised will be split between the VFW Foundation and the local VFW Post.
What we're doing with any type of monies is that we have gone out, we've done some shopping, and we're also trying to get some phone cards for the soldiers. So if anybody wants to donate any type of monies, we'll go out, purchase the cards, and make sure they get overseas so they can call home, especially for the holidays.
For more information, please call Waldron's Auto Body Car Star at 508-485-9426.
I know that we've been very, very fortunate, to have our freedom and our protection. And, after a while, you You know, we've been around for a little bit. After a while, you start to appreciate things as you get a little older, and this is one of them.
Today we have Placido, and he's a shy little boy from Puerto Rico. He's about 5 or 6 months old. He's still getting used to being handled and touched. He's great with other dogs, but he's really going to need some help being socialized. So we're looking for a patient person with no small children for Placido. If you'd like to know more about him, please feel free to call us at Buddy Dog. The number is 978-443-6990.
Let's catch up with Panthers football as they make a push for the postseason, taking on Leominster. It was scoreless 5 minutes in until Austin Garvey busts a move and leaves everyone else in the dust. The score would be 7-6 Marlborough going into the half. Then in the third, Adam Serra, who played a solid defensive game all night, picks one off and cuts it back inside all the way to the Leominster 10, where Garvey would push through and stretch for the touchdown. And that was all she wrote for Leominster, as 2 minutes later, Garvey would take in another 4-yard touchdown, and the Panthers would continue their dominant third quarter when quarterback Dennis Duplessis drops back and finds a wide-open Kyle Thibodeau for the 33-yard score. 7-3 Marlborough will now take on 8-2 Hudson on Turkey Day next week. Over to the ice now. After 25 years, Panthers hockey head coach John Butler is stepping down after the upcoming season and will also not return to coach lacrosse in the spring. Last season, Coach Butler recorded his amazing 300th win as head coach, and in 2005, he led the team to a state championship. Butler won't stray far from the ice, though, as he still plans on contributing to the Junior Bruins Club, and he'll be trying to keep up with his son Bobby, who was signed by the Ottawa Senators last season and is now tearing it up in Binghamton in the AHL with 13 goals and 6 assists in just 17 games this season. Congratulations to Coach Butler on a historic career in Marlborough.
Let's see what the next 5 days has in store for us. Here's a look at your 5-day forecast. The Marlborough Historical Society launched their annual calendar sale this month, and it will continue through the winter. This year's calendars have a new theme and are in celebration of the city's 350th birthday.
The Marlborough Historical Society's annual calendar is now available. The 2011 calendar highlights some of Marlborough's lost landmarks.
And every month has a different lost landmark that we've lost over time. It goes back to way back even, some weird ones that you might not even know about. For instance, the wigwam tree that I didn't even know about until maybe about a year ago. But down around Lake Williams was this huge, huge tree that was hollow inside, and you could fit 19 people inside the thing. And it was, the Indians used it as a wigwam back in the 1600s, 1700s. Unfortunately, it got a disease and they had to cut it down in the early 1900s.
The calendar is more than just pictures. Each month features stories and interesting facts about the different landmarks.
We have them distributed out at different places like Marlborough Savings Bank, the Chamber of Commerce, Bouvier Pharmacy, just to name a few, the Vin Bin, Wayside Country Store, Wayside Inn. They're all around. We have them at different places. Or they can buy them from us, and they're very economical. They're $10, and all the proceeds go to us, to the Marlborough Historic Society, to further what we're trying to do, you know, which is to preserve Marlborough's history and also to showcase it and let people see it. It's what we have here at the homestead belong to the citizens of Marlborough.
The Historical Society will also be holding their 3rd annual Christmas at the Farm Festival of Trees on 2 weekends this year, November 27th through the 28th and December 4th through the 5th. Volunteer help is needed for shifts of 2 to 4 hours during the event, handling admission sales, raffle tickets, parking, and other tasks. The shifts would run between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. For more information, please call Bob Kane at 508-579-0658.
The City of Marlborough will celebrate its annual Home for the Holidays event in less than 2 weeks. This annual citywide gathering aims to get all residents into the Christmas spirit.
The City of Marlborough will once again celebrate its annual Home for the Holidays on Friday, December 3rd on Union Common. Mayor Nancy Stevens will arrive with Santa and Mrs. Claus via a fire truck at 6:15 p.m. The tree lighting will be accompanied once again by the Marlborough High School Combined Chorus. Activities on the Common include Santa and Mrs. Claus, live barn animals, music, free balloons, popcorn, candy canes, and hot chocolate. The event runs from 6 to 8 p.m.
Before we go, we'd just like to remind all of you at home that you can follow us on Facebook. Visit WMCT-TV.com and click our Facebook link. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Marlborough This Week. I'm Kristen Doucette. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week. Coming up right now in Marlborough this week, there's been a leadership change at the Whitcomb Middle School. The city's hotel tax increase has been approved. Plus, Assabet Valley High School will hold a benefit in memory of a beloved staff member. And later in this half hour, highlights from the recent football game between Marlborough and Hudson as they went head-to-head on Thanksgiving Day. We'll have all the details coming up in sports. Those stories and more on this week's show. Marlborough This Week begins right now. School Superintendent Dr. Anthony Pope has announced a leadership change at the Whitcomb Middle School. Welcome to Marlborough This Week. I'm Kristen Doucette. Here's more on this week's top story.
I feel like we need to go in a different direction to improve student achievement immediately.
Superintendent Dr. Anthony Pope stated last week that he has made several leadership changes at city schools.
The Whitcomb School has been either in needs improvement or restructuring dating all the way back to 2006, and it could be longer. And I'm from the belief that we can't wait any longer, and low student achievement is unacceptable.
Mary Murphy, principal at Jarwick Elementary School, will take over as the principal of the Whitcomb School effective January 3rd, 2011.
The transition has already started, and we are very excited to have Ms. Murphy.
Cheryl Pecorelli, assistant principal at the Richer Elementary School, will be interim principal at Jarwick for the remainder of the year.
Whenever you make a decision like this, it's never really a good time to do it. We're doing it mid-year. We're doing it mid-year because it gives the new leader a time to assess and to make adjustments for next year. And we still have time to influence student achievement for this year's MCAS.
Dan Hannikin, who served since 2008 as principal at Whitcomb, previously the grades 4 to 7 school, will work with the superintendent on the transition, but he's not working at the building as of last week.
I have a 5-year contract. I'll be here, and Mary has committed long-term until we get the job done.
Pope held a forum for Whitcomb parents in the District Education Center last week to address any concerns.
The response has been, what is the larger vision, where we're going? So I've been able to provide parents with the larger picture of where we're going. So the forums have been very, in my opinion, have been a good chance for parents to understand why, one, and understand where we're going as far as our larger vision.
City Council President Arthur Vigin gathered 7 votes Monday night, one more than he needed to approve a 2% increase in the hotel occupancy tax within the city. It's expected the increased tax will generate between $400,000 and $500,000. Vigin's goal is to target the money for economic development. Currently, Massachusetts levies a 5.7% room occupancy tax and allows up to an additional 6% to be levied by cities and towns. In Marlborough, the total tax is now 9.7%, with 4% collected by Marlborough. The proposal approved by the council would increase the tax to 11.7%, with 6% allocated to Marlborough. The city has averaged about $1.1 million per year in revenue from the hotel tax at the current rate of 9.7%. In addition, the City Council addressed several items relating to telecommunications devices proposed for Marlborough locations. The City Council approved a special permit for Clear Wireless, conducted a public hearing for a Metro PCS request, and extended a deadline for a Verizon permit application. Clear Wireless, an affiliate of Sprint, plans to modify the wireless communications facility at 115 Onamog Street on the Fairmont Hill water tank. Under the terms of the lease that goes with it, the company will pay the city $25,000 the first year. The price will increase annually, bringing the city more than $465,000 over the 15-year term of the lease. The company filed the request with the council in August 2009, but requested delays several times. In a second issue related to telecommunications, councilors conducted a public hearing Monday on the application of Metro PCS Massachusetts to install a wireless communications device on the existing communications tower at the city's Easterly Treatment Plant on 860 Boston Post Road East. Councilors heard no opposition, and the issue remains under review in the council's wireless subcommittee. Finally, Verizon Wireless received approval of its request to extend time limitations on its application for a permit to put a 130-foot cell tower at 800 Bolton Street. The new deadline is February 28, 2011 at 11 p.m.
Public safety grants approved by the City Council this week will help fund police department dispatching and repairs from the March storms. Here are some more details.
The city's emergency management department received $20,000 through the Federal Emergency Management Agency in grants that provide 75% reimbursement for spending on the March flood repairs. According to Don Cuson, director of the city's emergency management department, the city will receive an additional 12.5% reimbursement from the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency. Police Chief Mark Leonard says that the bulk of a $93,000 State Office of Public Safety and Security reimbursement grant will cover personnel costs in the 911 dispatch center. The police department also received $15,000 and a grant from the Public Safety and Security Office to fund overtime when dispatchers attend training. The City Council approved the grants with quick votes on Monday. The city does not need to provide matching funds.
One local company has won the FDA's approval to test stem cell therapy. Here's more on this story.
Advanced Cell Technology, a stem cell company with a research laboratory in Marlborough, has received federal approval to test a human embryonic stem cell treatment on patients with a rare disease that causes blindness. ACT has withstood financial struggles over the past few years, and its stock price closed on Friday at under 5 cents a share. But the small clinical trial that it gained approval for to treat 12 patients with Stargardt's macular dystrophy will make it the second company in the U.S. to test a human embryonic stem cell treatment.
Still to come as we continue with Marlborough this week, a challenge to read 1,000 books before your preschooler enters kindergarten. But first, a benefit for a beloved teacher from Assabet Valley High. We're back with that story after this short break. Please stay with us.
Hello, I'm Paul Miner, Executive Director of Massachusetts 211. 211 is a non-emergency information hotline that provides callers with the information they need to solve many of life's everyday and sometimes critical problems. Whether it's finding government benefits or services, nonprofit organizations, support groups, crisis response, and official information, Mass 211 can help. This free and confidential service is provided to you by your local United Way. So remember, when you need non-emergency help, call 211.
Welcome back to Marlborough this week. Assabet Valley High School will hold a benefit for the late Clifford Giovannucci this Saturday, November 27th. Here are the details you need to know if you'd like to attend. A benefit fundraiser will be held this Saturday, November 27th, starting at 2 p.m. at the New England Sports Center in Marlborough to benefit the children of Cliff Giovannucci, a teacher at Assabet Valley Technical High School who died in April. To honor Giovannucci's generous and compassionate spirit, a benefit skate starting at 2 and a celebratory hockey game starting at 3 will be held. Skates will not be provided. A $5 per person donation is requested, and any alumni or friends wishing to participate in the hockey game are asked to contact Assabet hockey coach Dave Quinn by email at dquinn@assabet.org or by phone by calling 978-944-0764 for further information. All proceeds will go directly to the Giovannucci Children's Trust Fund. On a lighter note, after months of planning and collaborating, the MPS Early Childhood Center is set to launch a multi-year pre-literacy effort aimed at encouraging families to read at least 1,000 books to their preschoolers before they enter kindergarten. The center now has bags of books that families can rent out and take home. The Early Childhood Center aims to assist families in reading to their children, talking together, and spending quality time with quality literature. Putting the books into their hands is an important first step.
The program is outstanding in terms of putting high-quality literature into the hands of very young children, and having families take the time to read to their children on a daily basis.
The center looks forward to seeing how many children will improve their vocabulary and their love of reading as they work toward reading 1,000 books before kindergarten.
What we see is that children that have really high-quality early literacy experiences do much better academically in school and tend to be in school for a longer period of time.
If you have any questions or interest or would like to make a donation to support this worthwhile cause, please call the Early Childhood Center at 508-460-3503. This effort would not be available if it weren't for a local Girl Scout troop from Northborough. We met up with these girls to see how they got the job done for the Early Childhood Center.
The Girl Scouts in the Northborough Troop 481 wanted to do their Silver Award project, which is the second highest Girl Scouting award, and it's a huge project. Each girl has to have 40 hours worth of work, and our girls put in a lot more than that while compiling these books. The girls work together to gather over 2,000 books, and they're going to tell you a little bit about their process.
The first step, obviously, is to collect the books. And we set up multiple book drives throughout the Marlborough and Northborough schools and the fields. And thanks to Northborough and Marlborough community, we actually got over 2,000 books.
The next step was to sort the books, determine which books were appropriate for the kids to read and which ones were not so great. And we went through all the books, we sorted them into genres, and we put them into the bags.
All right, once we had sorted all of the books and decided which ones would be best and that we were definitely going with, the next step was to put them into a big database of all the titles and the authors and the genres of each of the different books. And so that was to just keep track of, which ones we had and make sure there weren't any duplicates. Lastly, we took all the 100 books and put them in 100 bags in groups of 10. We chose a variety of the books.
As you look around the room, you can see all the hard work that the girls have put in. They spent many hours at the Whitcomb School well into the night, and Beck and I are extremely proud of their hard work and their leadership and their initiative, and we are just so proud that they've put together a project that'll have a lasting effect on the Marlborough community.
Furnishing Options, a program of Marlborough-based employment options, is in desperate need of furniture and other household items. And with the holiday season just around the corner, it's even more important now that the organization receives donations.
Sheets and towels are items that have a real value to other families in the Marlborough area. Furnishing Options is a local nonprofit organization based in Marlborough that mobilizes community support to obtain surplus used furniture, housewares, and linens. Furnishing Options volunteers and Marlborough Junior Women's Club members are holding a blanket and linen drive just in time for the holidays and the cold weather now through December 4th. Please send an email to drive@marlboroughjuniors.org to receive pickup information. The following items will be collected: bath and kitchen towels, pillowcases, crib, twin, full, double, and queen blankets, comforters and throws, and crib, twin, full, double, and queen sheets. Furnishing Options accepts gently used, laundered donations from single-family dwellings only. They do not accept pillows or mattress pads. Visit marlboroughjuniors.org for more information.
This month, Waldron's Auto Body is honoring America's active duty and military veterans with a troop drive. We met with the owner, Bob Waldron, to see why it's so important to give back this month.
We have been collecting goods for all the troops who are overseas, so that this way here we can let them know our appreciation for what they're doing for us.
This November, Waldron's Auto Body Car Star will honor America's active duty and military veterans with a special celebration for National Military Month. An adopted troop donation program in conjunction with the local VFW is aimed at collecting supplies for our troops. Car Star, the nation's largest family of auto body repair experts, is working with national and local military support groups at nearly 60 locations around the country to honor veterans and America's active duty.
Insurance agents that we have a great relationship with, we've notified them. They have been great to us. And again, a lot of customers who've been coming in. We've been able to get the word out through people like yourself, which we appreciate very much, the local newspapers, and some of our own contacts through email and faxes.
Customers can simply make a monetary donation or donate a needed item and have their name featured on the Return the Favor donation cards featured in the store. Suggested items to donate include instant coffee, Clorox wipes, cotton t-shirts, cotton socks, razors, foot powder, toilet paper, dental floss, underwear, lip balm, mouthwash, batteries, and more.
Envelopes, pads, pens, cards, crossword puzzles, anything to keep them busy.
All monetary donations raised will be split between the VFW Foundation and the local VFW Post.
What we're doing with any type of monies is that we have gone out, we've done some shopping, and we're also trying to get some phone cards for the soldiers. So if anybody wants to donate any type of monies, we'll go out, purchase the cards, and make sure they get overseas so they can call home, especially for the holidays.
For more information, please call Waldron's Auto Body Car Star at 508-485-9426.
I know that we've been very, very fortunate, to have our freedom and our protection. And, after a while, we've been around for a little bit. After a while, you start to appreciate things as you get a little older, and this is one of them.
Coming up, the 2010 Festival of Trees and your Pet of the Week. Don't move. We're back after this short break.
This is Ducky Duck. Ducky Duck is really no different than you and I. You see, Ducky enjoys using Marlborough's rivers, streams, lakes, and ponds for travel, leisure, and even for drinking water. But Ducky needs your help. When humans mistake stormwater drains for sewers, it causes many problems. While sewers are connected to the plumbing in our houses, stormwater catch basins are completely separate and flow directly into our public water supply. Polluted waterways can affect the quality of our drinking water, our wildlife, and the overall health of our city. So when you discard trash, fertilizers, or oils into these drains, it's bad news for Ducky and for you. Help keep our waterways clean.
Welcome back to Marlborough this week. The Marlborough Historical Society is looking to get you into the holiday spirit with their annual Festival of Trees. We visited the venue this week to get a sneak peek.
Begin the holiday season with all the things that you love at the annual Christmas at the Farm. Holiday decorations, food, crafts, roaring fires, warm gingerbread, and hot beverages. This year's Festival of Trees will be bigger and better than ever. This year's festival will take place this weekend after Thanksgiving on Saturday, November 27th and Sunday, November 28th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. In addition, it will also be held on Saturday, December 4th and 5th at 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Enjoy an old-fashioned Christmas in the Peter Rice Homestead, located at 377 Elm Street, and in the building across the street, which is being converted into a winter wonderland complete with Santa's workshop, holiday figures, dozens of decorated trees, even a miniature train set. There will be plenty of parking courtesy of John Deli Perscoli, who is generously allowing the event to use both his building and his parking lot for this event. The Marlborough Historical Society is looking for volunteers to sponsor a tree, as well as to lend a hand before or during the event. Individuals or organizations interested in sponsoring a tree or participating in the craft area should visit the organization's website at historicmarlborough.org.
Today we have Cosmo, and Cosmo is a purebred long-haired Chihuahua. He's a 6-year-old neutered male. He came to Buddy Dog because of a divorce, but he does have a few issues in the temperament department, like a lot of Chihuahuas do. He's definitely not a dog for a home with children. He needs an adult home that can do some work with him because he can be a little temperamental, but he also has a lot of charm and personality. So if you're interested in Cosmo, please feel free to call us at Buddy Dog. The number is 978-443-6990.
Happy Thanksgiving, Marlborough. Don't worry, the sports update has plenty of leftovers ready for you. But before the boys could continue the Turkey Day rivalry, the Marlborough High School girls sought to restart their own tradition with a little powder puff game. The senior girls would shut out the juniors by a score of 14-0 earlier in the week. Fast forward to a cold, frosty Thanksgiving morning. People were talking all week, asking the question, did a strong 8-2 Hudson team have what it takes to end the Panthers' Turkey Day winning ways? Marlborough would find out early that yes, the Hawks came to play. On the Panthers' first drive, the alert Hawks defense causes a bad toss by Duplessis, and the Hawks fall on the ball. But this game would be a defensive showdown, as Marlborough stopped the Hawks on the ensuing drive. Then Austin Garvey would bounce off a tackler and find a whole lot of room, looking like he could take it to the house, but a great tackle keeps him out of the end zone. Remember that play, because after that, Hudson's defense became a force to be reckoned with, stopping almost everything the Panthers threw at them. And in the second, the Hawks, led by quarterback Jake Wardwell and running back Carl Seary, mounted an 11-play, 69-yard drive that ended with a Seary touchdown. The extra point would be no good, and it was 6-0 Hudson in the second. And yet again, threatening were the Hawks, but Garvey, who was hungry for more than just turkey on this day, picked one off, and he was running for daylight until yet another saving tackle stops him from scoring, leaving the Panthers' offense to yet again come up empty. Each team would trade defensive stops for the rest of the game, and with under 4 minutes to play, quarterback Dennis Duplessis knows he needs a big play to keep things alive. But Hudson senior Brian Gracia spins inside on his coverage and sees the ball the whole way, making a great interception and capping a tremendous defensive effort by Hudson. Hudson wins 6-0. They will play Groton Dunstable in the Division III playoffs in the upcoming week. Marlborough will have to regroup and get ready for a Tuesday night playoff at 7:45 p.m. versus Wachusett at Wachusett Regional Field.
We'd just like to remind you that the City of Marlborough will celebrate its annual Home for the Holidays event in just 1 week. This annual citywide gathering aims to get all residents into the Christmas spirit.
The City of Marlborough will once again celebrate its annual Home for the Holidays on Friday, December 3rd on Union Common. Mayor Nancy Stevens will arrive with Santa and Mrs. Claus via a fire truck at 6:15 p.m. The tree lighting will be accompanied once again by the Marlborough High School Combined Chorus. Activities on the Common include Santa and Mrs. Claus, live barn animals, music, free balloons, popcorn, candy canes, and hot chocolate. The event runs from 6 to 8 p.m.
And before we go, we'd like to remind all of you at home that you can now follow us on Facebook. Visit WMCT-TV.com and click our Facebook link. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Marlborough This Week. I'm Kristen Doucette. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next week.